You are now live.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Gwen Whistler, the chair of the Planning and Economic Development Committee, and this is the September 13th meeting. All council members and staff are participating virtually. To help our audience follow along, I'll state each section of the agenda aloud. We are streaming live on our virtual engagement hub, which is accessible through the option for the public to listen. Which is accessible through the virtual engagement hub link on the front page of the city website. We also have an option for the public to listen live by phone by dialing 855-925-2801 and entering the code 8187. For those of you out there with us today, welcome. For today's meeting, we have the option for people to call in and comment live during the meeting. To call in and comment live, use the same number, 855-925-2801, meeting code 8187. Your phone will be muted and you will hear the meeting live. At this point, callers will hear, for more options, please press star. Pressing star 3 will allow callers to continue to listen live and join the speaker queue. If you are watching the meeting through the live stream while you are listening to the meeting by phone, please be sure to turn down the volume on your device before speaking. I'll now go through and introduce the committee members and staff who are participating virtually. Please make sure to keep your microphone muted if you are not speaking. Council and staff, as I call your names, please say a quick hello. Councilwoman Sandra Kilgore.
Hi.
Councilwoman Sage Turner.
Hello.
Director, Planning and Urban Design, Todd Okalachaney.
Hi, good afternoon.
Economic Development Specialist, Rachel Taylor.
Hi, good afternoon.
Great. So the first thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. May I get a motion to approve the May minutes?
I'll move.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Great. So we have a motion and a second, and I'll do a roll call vote to approve the motion and second. When I say your name, please say aye or nay. Councilwoman Kilgore?
Aye.
Councilwoman Turner?
Aye.
And myself, I'm aye. So the minutes have been approved. The next thing up on the agenda is a memorandum of understanding with Duke Energy, and I'm going to turn that over to Rachel Taylor, and I believe that Jason Walls from Duke Energy will be available also. So take it away, Rachel.
All right, thank you. Let me just get this pulled up really quick. All right, can y'all see that okay? Great. All right, so hi, my name is Rachel Taylor. I'm the Economic Development Specialist in the Community and Economic Development Department. We're here today to present a proposed memorandum of understanding between the City of Asheville and Duke Energy. So to get started, I'll discuss a brief overview of the project and outline the project goals and process. Initially, Duke Energy reached out to the city to explore options to build a new substation on the city's Rankin Avenue property. They also proposed removing the old substation and exchanging Duke's properties with the city's property. The MOU will provide a framework to work with Duke Energy and guide the development of project goals, including facilitate a transparent process by approaching council early on, communicate and engage with key stakeholders, and collaborate with Duke to create a visual mitigation plan. This project consists of roughly 3 parts. The first of which is to enter into an MOU and subsequent right of entry to facilitate preliminary site planning and investigation activities. Next, and dependent upon the findings, staff will develop a proposed land exchange. And finally, staff will approach council at a later date to vote on the land exchange. So you all may know the electrical substation we're discussing, but just to make sure that we're all on the same page, I've provided an overhead map of the project area. So on the left-hand side of the map, you can see the big white building, which is Harrah's Event Center. And just to the right of that are Duke's 2 properties, the larger of which is where the electrical substation is currently located. You might not be able to see the numbers, but that property is number 5355 and it's 0.34 acres. The proposed future land exchange would also involve the smaller property as well, and that number is 4434, and it's 0.14 acres. The city's property is the large rectangle on the right-hand side of the map. It's property number 6296, and it's 0.64 acres. This property is currently used as parking for monthly permit holders, of which there are 35 active permit holders that use that lot on a regular basis. So why are we excited about this project, and why does this project even need to happen? So the electrical substation was built in the 1960s, so it's over half a century old at this point, and it's insufficient to meet the needs and provide that long-term service to a bustling downtown with both residents and businesses. So Duke Energy needs to replace the substation infrastructure to ensure uninterrupted service provision. And as I mentioned, Duke approached the city to explore these options to build a new substation close to the existing one that is located on Rankin Avenue between Harrah's Event Center and Lexington Avenue. So the Memorandum of Understanding intends to set forth a good faith effort by the city and Duke Energy to conduct community engagement efforts, coordinate testing activities to minimize impact, and facilitate conversations regarding project design. The MOU and subsequent right of entry would also permit Duke Energy to conduct environmental and other associated testing on these properties. And upon completion of site investigation by Duke Energy, city staff intends to return to council for a vote on a land exchange and associated real estate terms. So for example, any environmental remediation or site conditions and preparation upon project completion. So why are we excited about this project? Well, first there's the obvious continued and uninterrupted service provision by Duke Energy, but this property exchange would really provide the opportunity and potential to expand access to Harrah's Event Center through the rear entrances. That could happen fairly quickly in that proposed project timeline. It also provides the opportunity to possibly redirect some of the power lines surrounding the event center, which to my understanding posed a bit of a challenge during the maintenance. And then there's also the longer term potential and opportunity to possibly expand the auditorium, an event center, which would allow for larger events, even building a convention center space. It could also provide the potential to build along Rankin Avenue with mixed use connected to that expanded event space. So the challenges, especially in the nearer term, would be the potential loss of parking for the monthly permit holders in that Rankin Avenue lot. So just to recap on our goals for this project, they are to provide transparency, communicate and engage with stakeholders, and collaborate with Duke regarding a visual mitigation plan. The MOU provides a framework to work with Duke Energy and guides the development of these project goals. And our process is to enter into the MOU, which would facilitate that preliminary site planning and investigation work. The second step would be to evaluate the findings and develop a proposed land exchange. And the third step is to revisit this committee and then approach council at a later date to vote on the land exchange. So today we're asking this committee to set forth a motion to approve a recommendation to City Council. That recommendation would ask City Council to approve a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a memorandum of understanding and subsequent right of entry agreement with Duke Energy to seek a property exchange, facilitating the reconstruction of the existing downtown electrical substation. So that mouthful, I will pause and allow us time to answer questions. Thank you.
Rachel, when we say visual mitigation, what does that mean? I mean, I know what environmental mitigation means, but what's visual?
Just to open the conversation about what our options for design are, and Jason can probably speak to some of the constraints around this, but just to work with Duke on what our options for design. I'll let.
So, Councilwoman Whistler, if I may, it really talks about what type of screening is appropriate around the substation. So, unlike some of the other stations and community engagement efforts that we have had in the city, we're replacing the substation that's there with the same technology so that it'll look very similar to the station that's there now. But we want to work with the city and engage other leaders in the city, not just city staff and city elected leadership, but understand what are some things to think about in terms of fencing, screening, any buffering ideas. In some of our, this is just an idea, but in some of our substations in other cities, we've actually done some artistic lighting in substations where we've been able to provide those controls to a city or someone else to highlight different features, just kind of to do different things. So we don't know what that outcome is. And so when we talk about visual mitigation, it's what are some things we can do to make a substation more aesthetically pleasing in an urban and commercial setting.
Okay. And what do you all think the timing of this is?
So I'll kind of go a step further than Rachel did in saying that this substation has really reached the end of its useful life.
Right.
We have been able to do small maintenance to ensure its reliability, but we've just reached a point when it just has to be replaced. So we need to move as quickly as possible. And we would hope to be constructing in 2022 with completion in 2023. And that kind of, that goes with, what type of doing soil borings to find out if there's anything in the soil that needs to be remediated. What are some of the environmental conditions on both sites? And so there's a lot of investigation that has to do, which is why the MOU and the right of entry are kind of the first step for us to jointly do that investigation before we all agree that, hey, yes, we are going to go forward with a project. It's really, we need to do that investigation to find out, to make sure that it's feasible to do so first. But we would hope to move very quickly so that we can build this station as soon as possible.
Okay. Council, other questions?
I have a question. Thank you for the information. I'm excited at the idea that right-of-way that has been an access piece for y'all could become a functional piece for us. That Civic Center has aged, and I think it's an exciting opportunity to think about. The parking loss to Rankin, it was mentioned, I saw in the report. I'm not sure I ever saw a space number, how many spaces we might be at risk of losing.
Rachel, I'll let you take that. I don't know how many spaces. I know there's about 35 parkers, but I don't know how many spaces.
And that's something to worry about later. I know we're just trying to get here today to agree to do the testing and stuff, but I would like to know that as we proceed.
I can follow up with that exact number. I know that 35 number of who's using it actively, but I don't know the exact number right now, but I can follow up with that.
Sandra, do you have any questions?
Well, the only thing I have to say is I think it's a great SWAT for the city. And I like the actual location on Rankin for that substation because it's sort of out the way, in downtown, it's sort of out the way. So I do like that. And like Sage was saying, being able to utilize that land for the Civic Center, that's a plus. Other than that, I think it's a great move as far as I'm concerned. And that parking lot, Sage, that you talk about down there, I use that parking. I use that parking lot a lot. Even and most of the time it's not really used that often, which is shocking. I very seldom see it full or anything like that. So I don't know what,
one thing to add here that might be relevant is, I don't know how quickly this moves forward, but because of the pandemic, for the first time in the history any of us can recall, the city, instead of a 600-person waiting list on the parking decks, has extra monthly spaces. I wonder if we should at least alert the folks that park there to grab some while they can. I know they've been getting grabbed as time passes, but there might still be some available so they don't lose adjacent spaces. And other than that, as we start to look at the value of the parcels and the remediation and everything that's needed, I'll just be curious to see how we value that 0.2 acre difference in the two. But sounds good to me moving forward.
So I would entertain a motion, which is,
I'm happy to do that. I have it open here. Let's see.
okay. You want to,
Yeah, I just had it open. Oh, where'd it go? So many tabs. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. Where'd it go?
so I'd entertain a motion
Go
to
ahead.
approve, to approve a recommendation to city council to approve a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into the memorandum of understanding and right of entry agreement with Duke Energy to seek a property exchange facilitating the reconstruction of the existing downtown electrical substation. So then just, I need a move. Somebody moves that.
I'll
moved.
okay, I'll second.
Okay, great.
Thank
So
you.
I'll do a roll call. Councilwoman Kilgore,
Aye.
Councilwoman Turner,
Aye.
and I am also an aye. We didn't, so that will go forward to council for approval. And we did not receive any public comments beforehand, but I will open it up to public comment now. So Bryson, do we have any folks in the speaker queue?
No, ma'am. It does not look like there's anybody in the queue at this time.
Okay, so after opening public comment, I will close public comment. And I will thank everybody for participating today and adjourn the meeting.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.